Newcastle could be road good.
Do you think?
Yeah, Newcastle could be road good.
Stop it.
No, like, I think it's unlikely.
I think it's unlikely because of the depth of their squad and because they're in a European competition.
They're making the right signings. Newcastle are making the right signings.
And do you know what, Rory? You're absolutely right, because I have underestimated them so many times. I remember coming on TalkSport 2 ahead of last season, and it was true as well. I would have been very happy if we got top 10 and had a good cup run. Now, we got the cup run, we got to the cup final, albeit the Carabao Cup.
Yeah.
No, you can't shake that, though. First visit to Wembley for 20-odd years. And they came fourth. I mean, I was very, very blown away, and I think most people were.
So the trajectory that you've just described, going one step further than that, would be launching a sustained bid for the league.
Yeah.
Not saying winning the league, but I'm saying launching a sustained bid. You know, through the 70s when Leeds United were an amazing side, effectively that they didn't win that much through that period. But the reason they didn't is they were the best team, and every year, if you look at the winners, there was a different team that won the league. But second were Leeds. Leeds were the best team over the course of the decade, or the half-decade.
Well, it's like Newcastle in the mid-90s, really, isn't
it?
Could continually come in second. Now, I heard you mention this on the Transfer Insiders on TalkSport, Rory, that you said that Newcastle will eventually win the league. It, gave me butterflies. I don't think you're wrong, but, it's still very exciting. Now, the question I want to ask you, when? When do you think they will build enough of a squad, build enough of a challenge to go for that league title? And another question after that. Well, actually, answer that one first and ask you another question.
There's a problem with answering the Newcastle question, because if we were living in a normal world, Newcastle would potentially win the league within the next 3 years. Potentially being next year, by the way. So, but within 3. The problem is we're not living in a normal world, and standing in their way is the Goliath of Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. So it may not come for a decade, because I don't know how long Pep Guardiola is going to stay there, and I can't see this City juggernaut stopping. I don't see any reason to see them slowing down. Annoyingly, they're also very good. They've got loads of money, but they're also very good at football business. For example, it's so easy to just go, City spend loads of money. City throw money at the problem. But it isn't true. It's true a little bit. But
look at Chelsea. Look at Everton.
Exactly. But also look at Man City. There wasn't exactly a queue for Akanji when they signed him. There were a lot of doubters. There wasn't exactly a queue for Rodri when they signed him. There wasn't exactly a queue for Nathan Ake.
Alvarez potentially as well.
And then they go and they turn these players into the best, not only the best in the world, but the best team that the world has ever seen, in my opinion. Yeah. So the problem for Newcastle is who stands in their way rather than how good Newcastle are. But look, I think that Newcastle are capable of launching a bid for the league and creating the illusion. Yeah, of course I do. They, as you pointed out, they went from where to fourth? Where did you say it was?
They finished 11th.
So 11th to fourth and a final. The natural progression is a trophy and a title race. Yeah. Not winning a
trophy first. It's a bit like Man City, as you say, because they managed to win the FA Cup before they then went on to win their titles. Another question for you: will Eddie Howe be the manager that wins Newcastle their first title?
Probably. What will happen though, and this will be a very new experience for Eddie Howe, is the pressure will be unlike anything that he's ever had to deal with, because pressure at a club like Bournemouth is obviously incomparable to pressure at a club like Newcastle, and the pressure that he's had at Newcastle has been very different to what he's going to experience next year, because next year there's going to be a fairly hateful word, and that word that will be linked to him and to Newcastle will be expectation.
Yeah,
people will expect Newcastle to go and win games. People will demand.
The fan base will be expecting a lot. But actually, I feel like it's like you say, it's actually the voices outside Newcastle. It's actually the press.
It's actually us. It's me and you.
Yeah.
You less so, because you're kinder than me. but in the past, in Eddie Howe's career, losing at home to Aston Villa has been totally acceptable in whatever club or whatever circumstance that's been. Losing at home to Aston Villa next year will suddenly be catastrophic, depending on what's going on in the time. It will be totally unacceptable. So Newcastle are going to have to deal with new pressures for the club. That the club hasn't experienced pressures like that for 2 decades. Eddie Howe has never experienced pressures like that. So it's difficult to tell, because the other thing that could happen is the powers that be. Look, I think they like Eddie Howe, and I think Eddie Howe deserves to be in the job. But I can also see a world where
then potentially move it on. Yeah,
you think about some of the managers that could be available.
Yes, true.
When you think about the money that they have at their disposal and who they could get, they may get a little bit ambitious about it. I don't think they should. I think they should back Eddie Howe. But I don't think anybody would be surprised if suddenly they revealed... Like, if you look at the way that the PIF have approached Live Golf, or if you look at the way that the PIF
it's the
have
best
approached...
of the best of the best of the best.
Or look at the way that they've even approached their own domestic league.
Yeah.
Of course, it wouldn't be weird for them to say, do you know what, let's not go for Eddie Howe, let's go for Zinedine Zidane because he's available. Like, that wouldn't be outlandish.
Almost just for the prestige, really, as well.